Over the years, I've learnt the many strengths and weaknesses of Mazda's world's best-selling sports car chassis. Here is my suggested approaches for building your MX-5 Miata to be a great fun street and weekend car, or a capable track toy, or even a Porsche beating monster. I've got 3 different tiers or stages to these build guides today, the first of which is the fun street car and weekend toy. If you're a weekend warrior, or perhaps you use your MX-5 Miata as a daily drive, but you want to have a little bit more fun, then this build is right for you. This is tailored to a lower budget and with high reliability in mind, but will still offer a great level of satisfaction when behind the wheel with sharper steering and a solid feel. Stage 1 specs include some coilovers such as a respectable and well-known brand, MCA, BC, Megan Racing. Consider a good brand that has offered some actual R&D into their product and have a proven record with the Miata MX-5 community. Next up is a limited slip differential. The best really is the Mazda OEM Torsen. They're generally available, not too expensive, and they work quite well on the street. If you have an early 90s 1.6, you'll need to change your drive shaft / tail shaft to match the 1.8 size diff. Of course, good quality street tyres such as the Yokohama 8008 on a 15x7 or 15x8 rim will offer great levels of grip in both wet and dry conditions. And lastly, some basic intake and exhaust mods are also welcome. Induction noise can make a car feel fast, although the performance benefits are relatively minimal. And with all of that done, you'll have a much sharper but still very drivable everyday car. That is the Stage 1 street car and weekend build. The next tier up on this list is Stage 2, the dedicated track car or budget racer. Is it time to kick it up a notch? You might be running a dedicated track car, something to wrestle around corners against Subarus and Alfa Romeos, but you want to have the grip to outclass a Lotus and the power to try and keep up with a Toyota 86. Well, this is probably going to be the right build benchmark for you. At this level, I'd still recommend something like the MCA Purples or BCBRs as the best bang for buck coilover at this tier. A quicker ratio LSD, such as the Mazda OEM Torsen, but with something like a 4.3 ratio rear end, will add a little bit of extra pep. If you can stretch it, it's time to look at a semi-slick tyre. Something such as the Nitto NT01 for the more budget-conscious driver, or the Yokohama AO50 if you can stretch the extra dollars. It's time for a quality, lightweight wheel, at least a 15x8 or possibly even a 15x9 if you can, and consider an offset of somewhere around plus 36. These sizings will fit under any NA or NB MX-5 Miata guard, with maybe just a mild guard roll to ensure clearance. To get a bit more pep, a set of stainless steel headers and a 2.5 inch straight through exhaust with a muffler and a resonator to keep the noise and raspiness under control. You'll need braided brake lines, good quality pads, I like the Hawk Blues, and any reasonable OEM sized brake rotor. At this point, you do not need to be looking at big brake kits. A larger front sway bar will help improve turning and stiffen the front end. I like the 1 1/8 inch racing beat bar. Take note, the sway bar mounting points on the NA/NB MX-5 Miata are prone to cracking and failure under heavy use, so something to add is also the Racing Beat sway bar brace kit, as that prevents this. Another item for performance is a well-designed cold air intake, which will help with top end, at often a sacrifice of mid to low end torque. But for a track car which is always revving at 5,000 plus RPM, that's not an issue. But don't just plonk a pod filter next to your hot headers of your exhaust. That's not cold air. Now is the time to think about adding lightness. Remove every creature comfort that can be unbolted. Do you really need aircon? Remove all the junk in the trunk or boot, such as carpets and spare wheels. And speaking of carpets, the interior carpet inside the car is actually fairly lightweight, provided the sound deadening mats are removed, so if you aren't an all-out racer, don't feel bad if you want to leave the carpet in place. And that concludes the Stage 2, the dedicated track car but still on a budget build. It'll be ultra reliable but super fun to drive. This build will outclass a lot of higher tier and more expensive cars. But what if your budget is nearly endless? Welcome to Stage 3. This is where you're ready to build the all-out race beast. The most complete list of everything you need to achieve a reliable, capable, race-winning MX-5 Miata. No penny will be spared. This Stage 3 build will detail everything you need to install, upgrade or replace to support your high-power, high-grip, dedicated track monster. Don't expect much change left over in your boyfriend's purse when you end up at this level. Starting with the engine, you're going to be running some sort of power adder, be it turbocharger or supercharger. For boost, I like to use the NGK BKR7E spark plugs. To power those, you're going to need proper coil packs. Generally, the Mazda items aren't going to cut it. The LS2 GM coil packs are generally considered the best bang for buck for most MX-5s. You'll need to run a modern injector, not used OEM ones from 10 years ago. Run something like Deutschwerks or Flowforce injectors, at least around 600 to 1000 cc depending on your power level. Always run the highest octane fuel that you can source and afford. E85 is always the best. The factory Mazda throttle body is known to come loose and fail under heavy use at higher RPMs and higher power levels. Avoid issues by securing it with epoxy or replacing it with an aftermarket one. Avoid running completely solid motor mounts. The Mazda BP motors are not particularly smooth. As soon as you want more power, upgrade your rods, pistons and oil pump. Some tips for intake, exhaust and turbo. You'll want to be running proper in-canal turbo and exhaust manifolds to ensure the turbocharger stays secured to the manifold. You'll need a sufficiently sized blow-off valve to ensure you don't have issues. Avoid intercooler piping blowouts with proper beading on your hoses. Believe it or not, typical worm type hose clamps do actually work reasonably well. Avoid the use of rubber lines for your turbo, oil and coolant, particularly in areas near the hot exhaust system. A bar and plate intercooler is almost always better than a tube and fin style. Even generic and budget bar and plate items are very capable. Don't want a cracked exhaust manifold? Make sure you've mounted your exhaust sufficiently. Poorly supported exhausts can fail. Use consistently sized intercooler tubing from the turbo to the intercooler and from the intercooler to the throttle. Avoid tube diameter changes between these points. Don't go using eBay turbos or turbos with an unknown history. For drivetrain, upgrade your diff mounts to something stiffer. Delrin items are available nowadays at a relatively reasonable cost. If your car comes with a clutch switch which requires the clutch to be depressed to start the engine, bypass it. This will save your thrust bearing. Are you running a 5-speed transmission? It's probably time to upgrade for a 6-speed, which are good to about 350 Newton meters of torque. Still running an NA6 diff? Still running an open 1.8 diff? Well, neither of these will cut it. It's time to upgrade to a Torsen 1.8 diff. Even a Torsen starts to suffer at the track when you're over the 250 to 300 horsepower mark. You will need to be looking at 9-inch wide rims and proper 225 wide rubber to ensure you can get this power down. For suspension and brakes, sorry, but coilovers from eBay and budget spec are just not going to work anymore. It's time to upgrade all of your suspension bushes. OEM rubber is no longer the best option. Factory brakes are no longer going to handle the power and grip levels of the rest of the car. You're going to need to look at a big brake kit. Check out my guide on brakes for more info there. Suspension setup is important. You'll need your sway bars set up correctly with adjustable end links. And it's time for around 3.5 degrees of negative camber at the front and about 2.5 at the rear. To get all this right, you'll want the car corner weighted. You'll need to be talking to a proper alignment specialist. For cooling and reliability, coolant reroute is a must. You need to be running an oil cooler, transcooler and a diff cooler are also highly recommended. Be sure to run complete heat shielding for turbo hoses around the trans tunnel and anywhere where there's hot bits. No matter what your mate told ya, run water cooling lines for your turbo. In terms of electrical, you'll need to be looking at proper aftermarket ECUs. There are many options out there. Do your homework, talk to your local dyno tuner and see what they suggest for your vehicle. You should be monitoring your engine and have appropriate warnings set up. Air fuel ratios, temps and pressures all need to be monitored. Your ECU should be monitoring your engine for things like overboost. And mount your wideband O2 sensor vertically near your gearbox. Lastly on the list is body and aero. Correctly positioned vents in your hood or bonnet are critical. Pressure differentials change over the surface of the bonnet, so position matters. Mount your vents no further back than the first cylinder of the engine. It is time to consider other aero, a rear wing, a front splitter, minimizing drag. Block off front-facing holes that aren't necessary. A full width and full depth splitter and under tray is important for aero and cooling. Aero balance is important, so you should have a suitable rear wing and or diffuser to match the front splitter. Properly sealed and ducted front radiators will manage airflow and improve and aid cooling. Don't use a soft top and don't run with the roof down. For best aero drag, you need at least a hard top. At the top power levels, you'll also be wanting a roll cage, and it's time to strip the car of any unnecessary items. All interior plastics, any carpets, air conditioning should definitely be gone. The car at this point is built for one purpose: to go fast. And that's just a brief overview of Stage 3. There's so much more that can go into it and so much detail. At this point, you don't need me to tell you how to do this stuff. You probably already know what you're doing. But nonetheless, there's so much to consider to keep a car at this level fast, but also reliable. Anyway guys, that's my 3 levels of MX-5 track build. If you've got any tips of your own, please feel free to list them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.